Picture a normal Saturday morning. You wake up, half awake, phone already in your hand, scrolling for no reason. You roll out of bed, grab coffee, maybe glance at your bank app, not because you're panicking, just checking. Everything looks fine. Bills paid, a little left over. You're not struggling exactly. You're doing what most people would call okay. Then you walk outside. There it is, your car. Clean, modern, still smells kind of new inside. Heated seats, backup camera, Apple CarPlay connects instantly. You slide in, start it up, and for a brief second, life feels put together, controlled, like you're doing adulthood correctly. And then, somewhere in the back of your mind, quiet, almost ignorable, you remember the payment. $487 a month, or $612, or $743 if we're being honest. Plus insurance, plus gas, plus maintenance you're pretending won't happen anytime soon. You shrug it off, because it's normal, right? Everyone has a car payment, it's just part of life. You need a car, you work hard, you deserve something nice. And that's the weird part. Nothing about this feels irresponsible. It feels reasonable. I've spent way too much time thinking about money, and honestly, even more time thinking about why people who earn decent money still feel like they're barely moving forward. Why people can do everything right, get the job, make the payments, stay out of obvious trouble, and still feel stuck in this low-grade financial stress for decades. And the uncomfortable truth is this. One of the biggest reasons middle-class wealth quietly disappears isn't bad luck, or laziness, or even low income. It's cars. Not because cars are evil, not because you shouldn't enjoy your life, but because the modern car payment has become this perfectly designed trap, socially accepted, emotionally justified, mathematically devastating. By the end of this conversation, I don't want you to hate cars. I want you to see them differently. To understand why this one decision quietly shapes your future more than almost any other purchase, and how changing your approach could completely alter the trajectory of your money without needing a raise, a side hustle, or some extreme lifestyle overhaul. So let's talk about it, honestly, slowly, no judgment.
Somewhere along the way, car payments stopped being a red flag. Think about that for a second. If someone told you they were making monthly payments on their couch for the next 7 years, you'd raise an eyebrow. If they financed a phone for 96 months, you'd probably laugh. But a $600 car payment? Totally normal, almost expected. The average new car payment in the US is now over $700 a month. Used cars aren't far behind. Loan terms stretch to 72 months, 84 months, sometimes longer. We've normalized paying for a depreciating asset for nearly a decade. And here's the thing. This didn't happen because people suddenly became reckless. It happened because the system gently nudged everyone in this direction. Dealerships stopped talking about price and started talking about payments. What do you want your monthly payment to be? Is one of the first questions they ask. Not total cost, not interest, not long-term impact, just the monthly number, because that's what feels manageable. $650 a month doesn't feel like $52,000. It feels like Netflix, a gym membership, and a nice dinner combined. It feels abstract, distant, future use problem. And if everyone around you is doing it, your coworkers, friends, neighbors, it starts to feel like the baseline. Like opting out means you're either struggling or cheap. The result, millions of people locked into payments that quietly eat their financial margin month after month, year after year. And margin is everything. Here's where things get sneaky. Most people don't go broke because of their car payment. They go nowhere because of it. Let's say you earn $70,000 a year, solid income, comfortable on paper, After taxes, maybe you bring home $4,200 a month. Now, subtract $650 car payment, $180 insurance, $150 gas, $100 maintenance, averaged out. That's $1,080 a month tied to transportation. Over 25% of your take-home pay gone before rent, before groceries, before life. And maybe you can still afford everything. That's the trap, because the damage isn't dramatic, it's cumulative. That $1,080 is money that can't build an emergency fund, reduce stress, buy flexibility, be invested, give you options. It forces trade-offs everywhere else. Smaller savings, more reliance on credit cards, delayed investing, constantly feeling like you're one unexpected expense away from annoyance or panic. And the cruel part? You don't even feel rich while paying for it. You just feel normal. That's how wealth gets quietly suffocated, not through disaster, but through a lack of oxygen.
Let's talk about depreciation for a second. I know, boring word. Stay with me. The moment you drive a new car off the lot, it loses value. Not slowly, immediately, violently, like dropping a phone face down. Most cars lose 20 to 30% of their value in the first year. By year 5, many are worth less than half of what you paid. And yet, your loan balance doesn't care. You're paying interest on yesterday's value. This creates what's called being upside down, owing more than the car is worth, which means you can't easily sell it. You can't downgrade without bringing cash. You're locked in. So when life changes, job shift, family change, burnout, you don't have flexibility. The car becomes an anchor. It's wild when you think about it. We finance appreciating assets for short terms, like houses, and depreciating assets for long terms, like cars. Completely backwards. And no one explains this to you when you're sitting in the dealership, nodding along, excited, maybe a little nervous, signing papers under fluorescent lights. Cars aren't just transportation anymore. They're identity. What you drive quietly signals things, whether you want it to or not. Competence, success, stability, even self-worth. So when income goes up, the car upgrade feels earned, logical, almost symbolic. But here's the problem. Cars are one of the fastest ways to convert income increases into permanent expenses. Raise, new car. Bonus, down payment. Promotion, time to upgrade. And once that payment exists, it doesn't care if your motivation dips, if your job gets stressful, if you want to pivot careers. It's locked in. I've seen people making $100,000 plus who feel broke, not because they are, but because every dollar is already spoken for, especially the ones tied to cars. The car becomes a moving representation of lifestyle inflation, quietly setting a financial floor you can't fall below without pain.
This is the part almost nobody talks about. It's not just what the car costs, it's what it prevents. Take a $600 monthly payment, invested instead at a modest 7% return over 30 years. That's over $680,000. Let that sink in. Same money, same effort, different direction. Now, I'm not saying you should invest every dollar and never enjoy life. That's not realistic. But when a single decision consistently siphons off the money that could have changed your future, it deserves scrutiny. Most people don't fail to build wealth because they don't earn enough. They fail because too much of their income is locked into things that don't grow. Cars are the biggest offender. Wealthy people buy cars with cash, or they lease them as a calculated expense. Low-income households often buy cheap, functional cars because they have to. The middle class, they finance comfort. They're squeezed between aspiration and responsibility, wanting reliability, safety, and something nice, without realizing how expensive nice has become. And because the payment fits the budget today, it feels safe, until you zoom out. Middle-class wealth is built slowly, quietly, through consistency, and car payments interrupt that process more reliably than almost anything else. Not explosively, just persistently. Let's be honest for a second. Cars make us feel good. They represent progress, control, taste, success, especially if you grew up without much. There's no shame in that, at all. The problem is when we let that emotional hit override long-term reality. The dopamine fades fast, the payment doesn't. 6 months in, it's just your car, but the financial weight stays heavy. Understanding that emotional trade-off, that you're paying long after the excitement is gone, is one of the most freeing realizations you can have. Here's the quiet alternative path. Reliable car, paid off quickly or bought in cash. Nothing flashy, nothing embarrassing, just functional. And suddenly, your monthly expenses drop, your stress drops, your flexibility increases. That margin lets you build an emergency fund, invest consistently, say no to bad jobs, take risks when opportunities appear. Wealth isn't about what you drive. It's about how long your money can work without being interrupted. And nothing interrupts it like a perpetual car payment.
I'm not here to tell you to sell your car tomorrow, or to feel guilty, or to live like a monk. I just want you to see the pattern, to understand why so many capable, hard-working people feel like they're running in place, despite doing everything they were told to do. The car payment trap doesn't look like a trap. It looks like adulthood, like success, like normal. But once you see it for what it is, a long-term drain on flexibility, peace, and progress, you can start making different choices. Not extreme ones, just intentional ones. And those small shifts, over time, they change everything. Not overnight, not dramatically, but quietly, steadily. And that's how real wealth is built anyway. If this made you pause, even for a second, that's enough. Awareness always comes first. And maybe the most important thing to remember is this: you don't need to win at cars. You don't need to prove anything. Nobody is keeping score the way you think they are. Most people are way too busy worrying about their own payments, their own stress, their own quiet financial anxiety. The pressure to look successful fades a lot faster than the consequences of trying to look successful. What actually feels good, like deeply good, is waking up one day and realizing you're not trapped, that if life throws a curveball, you have room to breathe, that your bank account isn't fragile, that your future isn't being quietly negotiated away every month in exchange for leather seats and a logo on the steering wheel. And if you already have a car payment, this isn't about regret. Regret is useless. This is about awareness, about letting this be the last time you sign a deal without fully understanding what it costs, not just financially, but emotionally, mentally, and over time. One intentional decision can undo years of autopilot. So next time you see a shiny car glide past you in traffic, don't think, "I wish that were me." Think, "I wonder what that costs them every month." And then smile a little, because you're playing a longer game now, one that's quieter, slower, and a whole lot more powerful.